Hi, everyone. I'm so excited. I'm also so nervous. Hello, everyone. Thank y'all so much for being here. If y'all will, please smash that like, share this out so everybody can come and listen all about the new movie Mallet. And we're all very excited about it. Let me mute that. Okay. So tonight we're very lucky, and I'm very honored to have Jody Dean up here with us, Mr. Hunting the Dead, content creator, business owner, musician, family man, Mr. Halloween, now turned producer, director, actor, makeup man for your own movie, Mallet. Like, how many hats do you actually wear?
It sounds like I need to get off my ass and do something.
I kind of knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I always joke about it, but it's true. My mom, every time she sees me, she says, "How many more irons are in the fire?" Everybody else says, "When are you going to let the grass grow?" It's been a joke for many years, and I'm starting to feel it, though. I'll tell you that. Like, I've been going hard for a long time, and it's starting to wear me down a little bit.
I can't even imagine. Like, just so everyone knows, walk us through a typical day of Jody Dean.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Nobody's ever asked me that. So the first thing I do as soon as I wake up is I check all my emails and I post on every single social media I have. Dean's Haunted Mansion outlets, Hunted Dead outlets, my store, Retro Reware, the movie Mallet. So I post on everything, and then I get the hell off social media.
Right.
And then I usually am either editing or going to film a video and coming back to edit. And as soon as I do that, get done with that, I spend about maybe an hour to 2 hours helping the kids with homeschool with Alicia. We do it together.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I usually will tend to things that have to be done either for Dean's Haunted Mansion or for upcoming videos. And then I try and post again on social media in the evening. So I work it like a job. Like, I don't.
Right.
I've been doing that for a long time. I try and not stay on, though, because then I just wouldn't get anything done.
Exactly. Yeah, I understand that completely.
Yeah. And then if we have enough time, every single night, well, almost every night, we like to watch at least one horror film as a family before we go to bed. So
that's awesome. I love that y'all do that.
Yeah.
I love that because you're teaching your kids, there's really nothing to be scared of. We raised our kids watching scary movies too, and
oh, cool.
It takes a lot to scare them, especially with movies. So, so the new movie Mallet, how did you come up with the concept for this movie?
Well, I wanted to create a brand new killer. You may have heard me say this a few times. But this is a little bit different of a response. I wanted to create a brand new killer. However, I wanted him to have this real backstory that you could, when you're watching the movie, once you get to the story, that you could say, wow, Mallet could be anybody. There could be a Mallet right now. In fact, we've seen situations where in the media and the news where kids are inspired to do bad things through propaganda, through news, and all kinds of other bad situations, music, that they're influenced by. And so the backstory and the character being something never seen before, from the way that he kills people, what he kills people with, and why he does it, that all had to be very unique and original. And that was like a focal point in this whole thing.
Wow. That's going to be awesome. And it's very, I love the fact that you're trying to make something new, but keep the same killer components and stuff like that. But you want it to be something different. Not the same old boring stuff that we're getting used to.
Yeah, I love the way you said that. That's true. I mean, yeah, it's a horror film. It's just done slightly to where you're going to say, oh, wow, there's some originality to it, but I got that good horror feel. You feel like you're watching an 80s horror film in some parts, and then it's a little modernized with certain aspects. But I think we captured all the elements that I was going for. So.
That's awesome. So, would you say that was the most important aspect that you wanted portrayed in the film? Was something different, or what was the most important thing you wanted put out there?
I think the most important thing is I wanted people to care about two different perspectives. And you ever watched a horror film where the killer's just a sadistic fuck, but in some way, shape, or form, the writer or director can make you actually feel sympathy?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. And I've always loved movies that did that. And that was what was really important to me, is that there was an aspect that you got two different perspectives, and one of them you could be sympathetic to, even though you still want to see the one going through the torture of its tormentor, to see the one that comes out on top. And both of my sons did an amazing job in this movie. My oldest playing the killer, my youngest playing Tyler, and honestly, you can sympathize with both of them, but at the end of the day, you want to see Tyler win.
Right. Yeah. And of course, want to see, you can sympathize with both of them because you know who they are. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. See who we feel bad for. So both your sons are in the movie. I've heard you talk about this on a couple of other streams, but were the actors chosen for the movie, or was the movie for the actors? Let's see if I said that right.
Well, no, I get what you're saying. It was a really unique situation. So most movies, when they get the script and they get the green light, they'll hire a casting director and they get their whole cast together before they even shoot. Mm-hmm. And there was so much of this movie that I didn't need other actors for, that we were in heavy production filming those parts. And then I kind of was just like, oh shit, I got a part coming up where I need a cop. And I actually reached out to a real cop that I met. Yeah. And I was like, hey man, I need a cop for this part. And who better to play it than an actual cop? And
right.
And here's the thing, like when I'm directing, I'm telling people, look, you can easily mess up a good thing by thinking you need to go elaborate. Right. Just do realism. Act like this is a real life situation. When you knock on the door, don't be exaggerative. How do you actually do it?
Yeah.
And I picked a lot of actors that were, I picked the girl, Haley Spears. I picked her to play Tyler's mom in the film. She's a mom in real life. I picked a cop to play the cop in the film. He's a cop in real life. Mm-hmm. The guy that plays Tyler's brother in the film, which is kind of short-lived, I picked him. He was an employee of mine the last 2 years at the haunted house. And I got to see, like, he had some good acting experience, but he just kind of always treated my son like a little brother almost. And I was like, wow, perfect. So the way the casting happened was beautiful and unexpected, that it came out so well. I was expecting we're going to have a hiccup in this film, but it never did. It never came.
That's awesome. So it was a very happy accident.
Oh my God. Yeah, because on top of working hard and dedicating 6 months of your life to something, just before we started here, I told you what a nightmare this last 6.5 months has been. Nobody could even imagine. Finishing this movie was like in my top 5 of happiest days in my entire life. And like, seriously, it almost makes me want to cry. Like it's that it was that invested in it. And like, yeah, dude.
I can tell. Just hearing you talk about it, I can tell how important that day was, that the filming finally finished and stuff. That's amazing. I love it. I love seeing that you are that invested. I mean, it's not just financial investing that you have to put into a movie. You have to put your time, your effort, your blood, sweat, tears, and you've done all that, covering all the different jobs there are in making a movie. So I feel like you've got so much put into it, but you can also see the reward that you got from it.
Absolutely. And I told the kids the entire time, look, guys, this is one of those things where the reward really, there's two rewards in this. One, it's you putting in the work, creating a piece of art that can live forever. Because when we die, this movie can still exist. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. But, financially, any, money that we make from the film is not going to come until later on. And it could come or it could not come. You have to want to do this because, for me, it was like, there was a list too. It was like, okay, I get to make a movie with my kids. They'll have that memory forever. Two, it's something I wanted to do my entire life and I want to do it right. And then three, it was like, this might be the bridge. If it does well, it gives me the opportunity to do what I've really wanted to do more than YouTube. Like I love YouTube. Don't get me wrong. But like, if somebody came right now and was like, "Hey, look, we're gonna fund your next 5 films,"
Right.
I would definitely scale back from YouTube and focus on horror because I've been obsessed with it my whole life, and I finally doing what I just did with Mallet and seeing like the finished product. Like I just watched it before we jumped on here. Like I watched it again. I'm like, wow, I did this pretty much by myself, with the actors, right? Writing, directing, filming, editing, lighting, scoring the music, just you name it, the special effects, makeup. I'm like, if I did this by myself, what could I have done with like $1 million budget?
Right. Right. Exactly. And honestly, I mean, I'm gonna just say it. You're like a modern day John Carpenter. Look what he did with the budget that he had, and look at the way Halloween took off. You never know. Even just putting what you did into it or whatever, it definitely could be something that sets you up forever. So, I mean,
totally right. Yeah,
we'll see.
And I'll say this: had Mallet dropped in the '80s, like Halloween, it would have just been astronomical. I already know. Like it's one of those films where it's like, shit, dude. Like I'm sure it's still gonna do good, but if we could go back like 30 years ago, oh my god.
Well, hearing you say that makes me very happy because I absolutely love horror movies that came out in the 80s, early 90s. So if it's anything like that, then I'm happy. I'm very happy. I love that stuff. Halloween's my absolute favorite movie. Always will be. And so, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that now.
Very cool.
So, how many creative challenges did you have doing this movie? Like, what was the single hardest part of making the movie?
So this has been a tough one that people have been asking me, because I really think the only thing that was troublesome to me and stressful, okay, so there's two things. One, my son Jace, from the time we started filming, he just started growing like a weed. And I'm like, dude, slow down. We're like a quarter of the way into this movie.
Right.
And, Tyler has to like look a certain way. And so I'm like, but I can't stop him.
Yeah, right.
So I was a little nervous about that. But then when we got towards the end of the film and when we wrapped and I watched it, I'm like, wow, he doesn't, it's not that he looks that much bigger or that much different. It looks like he becomes more mature, and in the film that's what's supposed to happen. So it kind of worked like a blessing in disguise. Like, oh my god, I stressed about this for 6 months and it was perfect.
Great. Yeah,
it starts out, he's like this fragile, frail little tough guy that wants to impress his dad, and by the end of this film, he's a bad mother lover. And it's really cool. But another thing that I faced during this is, as soon as we started filming, I got COVID. A month went by and then I got COVID again. And that time it was so bad that I was almost hospitalized. Right. And they believe this stemmed from COVID, but I developed some other issues with gallbladder and my liver, and all of a sudden, like they were like saying things that were really scary, and now luckily we have come to find out with lots of tests that I changed my diet like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and like I'm the healthiest I've ever been in my life.
That's
And so, come to find out, they were like, "Wow, like we're not even seeing like the same numbers, the same results. Like you're good." So I was battling some things like that on top of dropping 15 YouTube videos a month, on top of filming this movie every night and editing, and on top of being super dad and running and getting Dean's Haunted Mansion ready for this season, and getting my store retro reware off the ground. I mean, it was a freaking nightmare. I've never been so tired in my life, but it's like Dean's Haunted Mansion now, around the same time we wrapped the movie, the mansion was finished for this haunt season. So I mean, I finally got it done. I got it done for Terror Tours. I got it done for haunt season. I've bought a build. I haven't closed on it yet, but I've got a building for Retro Reware, and that's going to close soon. So I mean, that's something I still have to work on. But like, I've got all my inventory in everything, like all the plans together. So I'm like, all I really have to do is put it in place and hire people to run it.
right.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of got everything done around the same time frame, and that was a big relief. So I just kind of took like almost a week of not off, but just chilling a little bit more.
I still see you laying in bed, sick as a dog with your laptop and phones, and I don't see you stopping even being sick.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't stop. You're pretty much right. There was a few days there where Alicia was like, "You said you were gonna relax. You're working on a song." I'm like, "Well, I love music. This is like relaxing to me." But yeah, you're right.
I definitely see it. Now, did you have to change anything up when you started filming? Did you see any things that you needed to change a lot of things, or was it going out the way you planned? Or
Yeah, pretty much all went to plan. I think maybe in this entire movie there was like maybe 2, 3 scenes at the max that I didn't use, or maybe I think what happened is back when I did it, back when I shot the scenes and I sat down to edit them and put them in, I was just like, I don't need it. Like it now it doesn't make as much sense as I thought it did, and it actually made more sense not adding them. So, yeah, there wasn't a lot of that. In other words, you're not going to see deleted scenes on the DVD menu because there's really only a few. But we got really, really lucky. I mean, I've worked on short films that are only 5 or 10 minutes long that had more hiccups than this movie did.
wow, yeah, that's good. I mean, that's what you want to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I prayed heavily before I started filming this and said, like, look, I've opened up the can and I'm going in. Help me get through this. Help me do it right. And if I ever feel like there's something I don't like, lighting, whatever, let me use my best judgment. Let me pay attention to my judgment and stop. And I did. There was a few times there, like things like that might have happened. I was about to hit record and I said, nah, the lighting can be better.
Yeah.
And this shot can be framed better and tighter and smoother. And so, I mean, there's been other times in life where I'm like, oh, it's okay. Okay did not fly with this movie. Like,
right. Exactly.
I'm, in case it's my last and only one, I wanted to make sure it was all on point.
Oh, that's completely understandable. So what I know, and like I said, I know I'm probably going to love this movie just from what you said earlier, but what sets your movie apart from all the other things coming out nowadays?
Probably the one thing I can't ignore, and even the few friends that I've showed it to or my mom that's seen it, is, the average person, if they didn't know me and they watch this, they're going to like it. They're going to, they're going to enjoy it. I know they are. You can't say it's a bad movie. But I think that anybody that knows me will respect it 10 times more when they see it and realize, whoa, Jody Dean did this.
Right.
Like, you know, what sets it apart for just anybody that wouldn't know me would be the fact that the lighting is unique.
Mm-hmm.
The music is unique. You're gonna notice, like, I watch a lot of horror films, and I feel like they're always, and this is not a stab because I love the scores they're doing, but a lot of them almost sound like they could be played in the same movie over and over and over, or a different movie. You can take the same score, and then when you hear another movie, it sounds like the same score. So, like, the scores are unique. The lighting is unique. Uh, I think the killer is different too, because he has this threatenism. I don't even know if that's the way I can say it. It's like a threatenism to him, but also you feel like he's touchable.
Right.
And I think that's where maybe you could say, you could feel sympathetic to this guy if he could stop being a sadistic, shit for just 2 minutes.
That's awesome. So you were very happy with the actors that you brought into the film, and I know it's probably maybe some of the people's very first movie, but if you could have had anyone in your movie, who would it have been and why?
So wow, thank you, great question. And I actually did make this attempt. So I don't know if you remember, around I think I was getting ready to start production whenever that Face of Horror thing was ending. Do you
Mm-hmm.
remember
Yes.
Face of Horror? They had like whoever they chose to be the Face of Horror, you would get like $10,000 and a chance to hang out with like Kane Hodder, who played
Yes.
Jason. I My whole plan, I was in that. Like, I was in that with a lot of people. I know tons of people were, and I didn't think I was gonna win it, but my whole thing was like, if that happened, I'm gonna say, can I give you that $10,000 to be in the beginning of this movie, Kane? Like, that was my whole thing. I didn't want the money.
Yeah.
To have the money, I just wanted him to be a part of the film, and I actually reached out to him and got a hold of an agent. I never spoke to him, but the agent was like, "Yeah, Kane could do it for like $50,000 for like a day on set," and I was like, "Yeah, it ain't that important. I like Kane, but it's not gonna make or break the film." It's
Right. Exactly.
Had you seen Kane in the Mallet trailer for a split second, you couldn't tell me that would have made that much of a difference to you, like whether you were gonna watch the movie or not.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And I love Kane Hodder, as well, but that's a little steep.
50 G's for a day on the set, yeah, I'm good.
But I think it's always good too. And I know budget plays a part into it too, because actors do want an extreme amount of money. But I always love it when, and I think that's why I'm a huge fan of like the B movies, stuff like that, is because B horror movies, because it's unique actors again.
Right.
You're trying to make this a unique movie, but you're giving these people an opportunity to be in the film and stuff too. So I think that does set it apart, because you're not seeing the same characters over and over and over again,
Right.
like you do in most horror movies. So that's still awesome.
I love indie horror films. I'm on board with you 100%. And I really dig horror films. Even, I hate saying the shitty ones, but a lot of people refer to them as the shitty ones. They'll say, "Oh, that was a shitty horror film." Hey, this guy loves shitty horror films. Like there's a place in my heart for those, and I love to watch them. I just watched this one the other night. Can you cuss on this channel or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll try and keep it to a minimum, but I watched this one the other night. It was called "Don't Fuck in the Woods," and it actually, well, like, I watched part 2 of it. Actually, was pretty freaking good, but I seen a lot of people ripping it apart online, and I was just like, wow, like, that's crazy. Like, horror is one of those things where you can get away with like some corny stuff here and there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Actually kind of feels like it goes hand in hand, but unfortunately, you're not going to really see any of that in Mallet. It is a serious film beginning to end.
That's going to be, I'm so excited to see it. I'm so ready. So what kind of audience do you think is going to be the ones that's going to love this movie? Like, who are you hoping for?
Most likely, like the people like you and I. We're the horror community is huge. It's more like Horror Nation. Like there's all kinds of different horror cult followers for different horror cult classics.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to gravitate to it very quickly. There's a couple things that are going to make it push when closer to the time of its dropping, but it's getting ready to be submitted to like 10 to 15 film festivals.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine even if it doesn't win a handful of them, it's going to be nominated by several of them, which is, that's a big deal because you got people submitting all over the world, and being nominated is a great thing. You don't always have to win. I mean, that's a blessing in itself. But I think once the film festival circuit gets a hold of it, that's going to do some major anticipation grabbing to the horror culters. And I think that once the film drops, I think that there's going to be a huge fan base for it out there besides my fan base. Because like coming into this right now, it's like a lot of my people know what's going on with it.
Right.
The shit hasn't hit the fan, but I believe that it will. And some of these films, I just did a review on a film that came out in 2019, and I'm buzzing about it right now. I'm like, wow, dude.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
So I think Mallet is definitely here to stay. And if it doesn't do that, I'll be shocked because, I mean, it has all the elements you need to make that happen. So, and I was going for that. Like I literally was like, hey, this ain't good enough. Let's scrap it. And the only thing I could say, is that I did do all these jobs myself. So I think at the end of the day, the only thing anybody could say about it is, oh, you should have put more money into this or that. I'm like, yeah. You don't just call up Lionsgate or Paramount and say,
exactly.
Look, I wrote this script, bro. I know you don't know me. I'm a YouTuber. Let me get $2 million. So. But
I'm going to turn my camera off for just a sec because my mom has to get something.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's. I mean, just look at Halloween. The budget for that. What was it? 200,000, I think, is what they ended up spending all together. And that was, to me, still to this day, one of the best movies there is. You don't have to have all that high budget stuff, because real situations like that, you're not going to have all the fancy, equipment and everything. You want it to look real. Yeah. And some of these newer movies, I think I have a very hard time watching them without being very disappointed.
Damn, me too. You know what? Like, it's funny. My oldest son, he'll say, oh man, check out this game. It looks so real. You feel like you're in it. And I watch it and I'm like, I don't like that. Like, I love how things look like when they were filmed on film and an actual tape. I got tons of DVDs, but I prefer to watch the movie on VHS if I have it. And this film, like, it's actually good quality, as you've seen in the trailer. Like, it's good quality, but the way that I grunged it out, the color correction I did, I shot it in 24 frames per second, so it has that cinematic film look. Like, it actually stands up to like one of the older movies, and it's not going to be released on Blu-ray. I could do that. I'm not going to. It might come out later down the road like that, but I'm releasing it unrated, so you get the good unfiltered shit, and it's going to be straight to DVD, and it's going to be on Amazon Prime.
Now I'm with you on the whole prefer film type thing, even on television, TV shows. I couldn't stand it when they switched over to the high def stuff, you know, to where it looked like you were in the room with them or whatever. I always thought, what is this? I don't like it. Give me back the old stuff. So I'm glad that you did it that way, because some of the newer stuff, it really gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
So being a YouTuber, going out and filming all this, did this help you whenever you decided to start the movie and filming and all that other stuff? Or I'm sure that stuff just comes natural to you anyway, because you do a great job even with your channel. But does being a YouTuber help in the movie making?
Well, I'm sure it does in some aspect. You know, a lot of what I learned about filmmaking, I actually learned before I started doing YouTube. However, you know, everything I've ever learned before, I've been a trial and error guy.
Right.
I learned how to build, you know, horror sets for like a haunted house or a movie set through trial and error. I learned how to do special effects makeup through trial and error. I used to make short films back in the day, and I've buried them to where nobody can like get their hands on them because I'm not proud of them. And I realized what I did wrong with those. And like, yeah, that was like your learning pieces and stuff like that, you know, your trials and errors. But back when I made those, I wasn't ready to make a movie, and I was trying to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew last year I was ready. Like I understood how, you know, how certain shots need to be framed, how the depth of field plays a big part, how the lighting, you know, I understood every aspect of the lighting and the frame rates and the quality I wanted to shoot it in, what kind of camera I wanted to shoot it with. I just knew like I'd be able to actually pull it off this time. And I wasn't ready in the past, but I was ready this time. And YouTube, I mean, what YouTube has taught me is it's a job like any other job, but it's unique because in most jobs you don't have to constantly figure out new ways to be creative.
Right.
The job is the job, right? Even before YouTube, I owned a nightclub promotion company that was huge in the Tampa Bay area, and you know, that was like set in stone of what it was going to be. You know, you have a formula, and with YouTube, that formula constantly changes. You never know where you're going to go, what you're going to find, how, you know, so you're going to always respond different. And I think that helps with everyday life as well as this movie and everything. It's just like you got to learn how to adapt on the go.
Right. And that's awesome. Let me see. Hello, Miss April. Sorry, I had her down in the basement, didn't even realize it.
Hello, April.
Okay, so locations for this film. I know a lot of the places that you filmed at, you own. Now, did you have a lot of trouble finding different locations for the film?
No. So whenever I wrote the script, I was like, in the beginning, I was like, okay, I think that might have been one of the first things that I did was, remember in school how we used to draw a web?
Yes.
All right. So I put Mallet in the beginning of the web. And I think the first thing I drew out, it was like, okay, where am I going to film this thing? And I'm like, okay, I can film it at these places that I own. I don't got to worry about getting, you know, permits and clearing it with the city. I can do, you know, just pay attention to noise coordinates and things like that. Because that can be, I mean, that can be a pain in the ass. If one person has an issue with it, they can shut down your whole thing. So I'm like, you can't do shit if I own it. And so I knew from the beginning I was going to do it like that. And I have this friend, and she actually has like, she calls it Skinwalker Ranch, which is crazy because like she's been telling me that ever since I known her, and I'm fairly newer to like the Skinwalker thing and like what that is. Like I'm, you know, nowhere near like an expert. I couldn't tell you what they eat, what they do, but besides the point, I had just done some filming with her, and I'm like, okay, can I like pay you to, you know, film on your property? I got the scene from my movie. And she's like, dude, you don't have to give me anything. And I was like, no, I was like, I pay people. Like, I'm going to pay you, but you're going to have to sign a contract and releasing me, you know, saying that like, I'll be able to, you know, manufacture, distribute, blah, blah, blah. Pretty substantial contract.
Right.
You know, like, hey, I got to do this. So she was like the one exception because she just had the perfect place for me to film this one scene that I needed to take place. But other than that, like, yeah, I own the places. Dean's Haunted Mansion is in the movie. And, you know, in the movie, you don't know that it's Dean's, you don't know what Dean's Haunted Mansion is. The average person that sees that is just going to be like, whoa, that place is insane because you've never seen it filmed like how it is in this movie. It's just incredible. Like, I even looked at it, was like, damn, I own that.
I was fixing to ask that if there was any Easter eggs or hidden things in the movie. So now you kind of gave us that. So
there it is.
I'm excited to see that because I have seen some of the, you know, just in your videos and stuff like that, but I can't wait to actually experience that in person because it looks like an amazing place.
Thank you. I appreciate it. If you're ever around, you're welcome to, you know, you give me a heads up, I'll shoot up there and let you check it out.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna eventually, as soon as I get that way, I'm definitely gonna be coming that way. I'm very excited. As soon as I seen the very first day that you posted that you bought it and stuff, I knew it was gonna be an amazing place. So
thank you.
I'm excited to see it in person one day. All right, so another one of your hats that you wore in this, you composed all the music and stuff for it. How hard was that for you?
You know, that was probably like one of the easiest things because there's nothing, there's so much I love, but like if I really had to categorize everything, it's like I think music is always going to be like right at number one, and it's gonna give my love for horror, you know, just a little bit of a fight. But when I sat down and I made this movie, it flowed like water. I ended up recording 15 pieces of original music, and the music in this film is just like perfectly fitting. Like if somebody was like, if a big time horror producer that scores horror movies for a living, that's done blockbusters, came to me and was like, hey, I love this movie. You know, I got you for free. Let me just get some credit points. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. Like it's perfect for the scenes. And I've scored films before. I'll tell you something that I haven't told anybody that's really messed up. I scored a short film years ago, and it got nominated and it won an award. And the people never put my name on the application for the music when they submitted it. So they got an award with their names on it for the score, and they had nothing to do with it. And I had all the hard, you know, I had like the Pro Tools session files. So like I had the meat and potatoes like to prove like I created this. Like nobody else can have the session files. And they got an award. So yeah, that really hurt. And now there's no room for that error. You know, people are gonna, when it gets submitted to these film festivals, you know, Jace or Anthony or one of the other actors, Katie, you know, they could win an award for acting.
Right.
I could win an award for the score on the movie. I could win an award for the color correction. I could win for best script. I could win for, you know, best directed film. Or there's just so many things you can win for in a film festival. And I'm hoping out of all of them that the music is one of them.
That's awesome. And I love all your other music and stuff as well. So I'm sure it's gonna be great. Editing the movie.
Yeah.
I know when you started it to finish it, how grueling was it?
Wow, man, the editing. So I did it different than a lot of movie people do, and that's a good thing about not working with big companies is you can use it the way you want to. But so the way that this movie went down was every time I would film, after I was done filming, I would go straight into my studio and start editing that footage right away. It was like that almost every single time, to where when I filmed the very last scene of the movie, like I was able to sit back and watch it all. It was like done, except for adding little sound effects, polishing it up, tweaking the sound a little bit, just basically bringing everything nice and just perfectly mastered across the way. And so editing, where I would have had a big headache with this project is if I did it the way that these guys do it. Most of the time they'll spend 6 months filming on set, and then as soon as they're done filming, they come into the edit studio and they got 6 months of footage to go through. That's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
That's the real nightmare. So I'm so happy I did it this way, and if I do another one, I'm gonna continue to do it the same exact way, edit as I go, and then that way, whenever we're wrapped, really the movie's pretty much it's almost done. It just has to be polished.
That's awesome. And I mean, that's really a very convenient and good way to do it, because you see how it flows together. So if you need to change anything, you still have everybody there.
Yeah.
You can change it when you need to.
Yeah. And there was only maybe one or two little things that I felt like could be better if we changed them, and that worked out great, because that was my whole idea is like, okay, if I shoot something tonight, I go home and edit it, and I'm not happy with it, I can get a hold of that person and say, hey, what we did last night was not great. I'll pay you again to please come back and let's reshoot that part. And anybody would have been happy to, man. Everybody I worked with was so kind, and big shouts out to Haley and Katie and Matt and Aiden and all these people. That Laura, oh my God, Laura, she just texted me. I can't forget Laura. They just did an incredible job, and they were so kind. And if I needed to, they would have said, hey, come right back, or I'll come back, whatever.
Right. That's awesome. And it did look like a really great group of people that you have there.
There were. And I'll tell you something towards the end. You'll have to remind me about a scene with Haley.
I was just fixing to ask, is there any particular scene that you had a blast making, or that stood out compared to any other scenes, or?
Oh God. So we had a damn ball making this film for sure, but there was this scene there's this sex scene in the movie, and it's very short-lived, but you see a hint of it in the trailer, and there was a bunch of people that were writing me freaking out. They were like, whoa, Alicia let you do that? Alicia hit record. So it's very, that's one obstacle that maybe a lot of people, it should have been rougher on me than what it was. I made it work, but filming yourself, I did have to have a stand in there for me that, could be where I need to be, do what I need to do, and then I could frame it up and make sure that I'm happy with it. And then I would pull them out, and I would go in and I'd say, all right, Alicia, don't bump the camera, don't bump the tripod or whatever I got going on. Hit the record button, quiet on set, count to 10, we're going in. And so I had to film this sex scene with Tyler's mom, my wife in the film. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason for the sex scene. I didn't just want a sex scene to be in this movie. But whenever I did that, you would think that would be an awkward thing for Alicia, but we all laughed and joked about it, and it's for the movie. I mean,
right.
But that was one of those moments where the girl a few times messed up and either looked in a different way than she was supposed to, or a word slipped. So we had to reshoot that several times, and it started getting pretty awkward. But it ended up coming out really great, and it fit the purpose, of the movie. When you see the movie, you're totally going to be like, oh my God, yeah, you had to shoot that sex scene because of, what takes place in the scene. So
that I could see how, and I always think about that too whenever, actors have to do the sex scenes and stuff like that, what their partners are thinking, but Alicia was there. She's on set, she knows. But yeah, that would be extremely awkward, I think, especially after so many different takes.
Yeah, I was so happy that we nailed it on like basically the second to the last take, and I think we thought we had a little bit of a slip in that one, but when I watched it, I was like, dude, yo, that's the one. That's the one. We didn't need to shoot it again. But sometimes you have to do that. And honestly, my process was a lot easier than probably most movie producers. I know people. Even I am in a movie that's on Amazon. It's called Rocky Mountain Fast Guy. It was shot like 11 years ago. But even when I shot the scenes in that movie, I think they shot it like 20, 30 times, and they probably used like the first one, but they do it just to make sure, like, hey, when you're paying big, big bucks, you can't just come back, like every week to read.
Exactly.
Right. So, but most of the time, I mean, maybe the most takes we ever took of one part would have been like 10 takes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was great.
So I can tell just by the way you talk about the movie that you're very happy with the way it come out. Would you do anything different?
The only thing I won't say I would do different, but I would do bigger would be, I'm a beast when it comes to special effects makeup, and a lot of people don't know that about me. And had I have pushed my abilities and what I'm capable of in this film a little bit more, if I would have went a little bit more ham, then there's no doubt in my mind I would have ended up getting an award for what I know how to do with makeup. And it kind of sucks that really hit me when I was almost done with the film. Was like I was like, this is good. Hey, there's plenty of blood, there's plenty of gore, there's plenty. It's good, but I mean, like I literally, could cast you and paint you and make you look real, and then put a handle in your body and have you on the ground, one person doing the handle to make it look like you're pushing, and somebody bashing you with the hammer, and it would look like What the Paranormal is getting smashed up. And I took a little bit of an easier route here and there because, again, I was like, okay, I'm filming it, I'm doing the lighting, I'm directing. I'm like, I better make the special effects makeup in such a way to where it's like I can do it all. And so I'll say this: if there's a Mallet Part 2, I'm going to at least hire one extra person to help me on set with things like that.
Right. Now, if there is future projects, I do volunteer to be the hammer person. So just putting my name out there. So was there a movie in particular or a director in particular that inspires you or that you really look up to and you kind of focus some of the things you do around that?
So that's a really great question that actually nobody's asked me yet. So thank you. So ones that I'm inspired by, yes. Ones that you'll see elements of in this film, no. I kind of treated this film process like I do with my music. Like if I'm gonna, let's say I plan on making a song this month, I try my best not to listen to radio. If Alicia's listening to TikTok, no, go in the other room and do that. Like I don't want to be inspired, because the worst thing in the world for me is whenever somebody watches your film or listens to your song and they say, oh, it sounds like such and such, or it looks like that. It's like, I don't want to be compared to nobody else. I just made an original of history here. However, yes, Damien Leone of Terrifier made the Terrifier movies. Fuck yeah, he's an idol. Adam Green, who does Hatchet, idol. those guys, you could only wish to be as good as they are when it comes to film. But I will say this, like with Damien, who does Terrifier, one thing him and I do have in common is he does his own special effects makeup in his movies. So when you watch the Terrifier movie, you're probably seeing a piece that, you know, like he probably put that together, or it's at least his concept and somebody might have helped, you know. But yeah, so I really try to keep it OG on this, and it shows, man. I mean, there is unique. I could have went 10 times bigger with the kills. I could have went 10 times bigger with the blood and the gore. But I think that I had 80s horror film, 80s horror film, 80s horror film. And some were over the top, but some of them had that little bit of like mystique to them, you know?
Right.
And again, you know, I've already got Mallet 2 in my head. I haven't written the script yet, but I guarantee if I sat down to write it tomorrow, I'd be done with it in a week, because I already know beginning, middle, end what I want to happen. And that film, I can guarantee you, is going to be something that could hold a candle to Terrifier 2. If you've seen it.
That's going to be awesome. And see, you keep bringing up all this stuff, and I'm really excited to see the movie, because I know it's going to be good because of your inspirations and everything else. So how about marketing for your film? What do you have planned for marketing of Mallet?
So, you know, when I came to the drawing board, I wrote the film and set a production date. We went through production. The last thing on my mind was how I was going to go about marketing the thing, but I wasn't too stressed about it, because like before YouTube, you know, like for anybody that doesn't know my backstory or whatever, as soon as I turned 18, I started selling real estate, and I did that for 7.5 years, all while running a nightclub promotion company business that I started like the same week I went to work in real estate. And I was a crazy animal working back then. When Alicia met me, I was not much different than I am now, biting off more than I could chew. Right. I was just a workhorse. So between doing real estate and between doing the promotion nightclubs, I figured that part would come easy, like marketing. And you know, I plan on using my YouTube friends. Anybody that wants to be a part of it, man. I mean, there's a difference between me and a lot of YouTubers, and a lot of people don't know this because they don't reach out to me. Like, I don't think I'm big shit. I don't want to be big shit. Like, if somebody has 1,000 subscribers and they've always been kind to me, or 100 subscribers, like, I'll do an interview with you. Like, it's cool. So I think there's a lot of marketing to be done. You know, just right here on YouTube. I mean, most movie people that come out of nowhere that make a movie, they don't have a YouTube platform or access to, you know, to people. So I think that we've already got a head start on a lot of people. And I'm projecting that the film's going to probably, you know, do somewhere in the low 20s or high 20s its first year, I believe.
But I believe you will as well. And you know, now so many actors and actresses are coming over to YouTube. So YouTube is a great platform for new actors, new movies, you know, stuff like that. And the publicity I think that you can get here, to me, is almost better than what you get on TV and stuff, because nobody watches commercials or anything like that anymore. So
you're so right, dude. Game has changed, and I don't think there's any better way to promote it here. And of course, like, here's the cool thing, is like the contracts are already there for Prime. So once the movie hits Prime is a whole different ball game. Like, I can't get into like certain things, but I'll say this: like, the movie that I'm in, the guy that did that movie had a great budget, spent 5 years making that movie, and it went to Prime, and he had no fan base. He had no YouTube fan base. Nobody really knew who he was except maybe a couple people from his music. And or I don't want to make it sound like he was nothing with his music. He was good, but like, you know, it was maybe a small fan base, right? Local. and his movie did really, really well. So it's because, you know, how many times when you're in a store do you grab a DVD, or how many movies have you grabbed in your lifetime solely because you've seen the cover and the cover look
Right.
I don't know if you just seen that.
Yeah.
That light just went out. All right, maybe we might have some paranormal shit going on. I don't know. But there's been so many times in my life where if the cover looks cool, I'm giving that movie a shot.
Right.
And on Prime or Hulu or Netflix, wherever, it's almost the same thing where it's like, if you can get them with that thumbnail, which is like YouTube, right?
Exactly.
Then you can at least come in and see what you're about. And I think it's gonna go crazy on Prime. I really do.
I think it's going to do well. I really do. So we know it. So let's just put that out there. We're gonna go ahead and put that into the deal. We know it's going to do well, and the spirits are wanting to have some airtime too.
I never have anything happen here. Like, this is like the most unhaunted fucking place that I've ever had in my life. It's really weird.
You have the Twinkies here now. We like draw that stuff out for some reason.
What the paranormal?
So we know the movie's going to do well. We're putting that out into the existence right now. Everybody just put that out there into existence. But what is your ultimate goal for this movie?
Ultimate goal is that we sell 100,000 DVDs in the first 3 years that it's out, and that it does really well on Prime to where maybe some big studios, which this has already been suggested to me by some higher ups that this might happen. That some bigger studios might reach out to me and say, yo, we heard that you made this on bare bones. Like, we want to see what you can do. And if I'm given that opportunity, I'm going to freaking shine, dude, because, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I've been watching horror films since I was 4 years old. I've been doing music since I was 9. They give each other a run for their money. But I'm hoping that we maybe sell 100,000 copies of this thing. It gets really out there. If we sold 100,000 copies of it, I wouldn't need no big studio to make movies for the rest of my life. I mean, I would just be able to make huge freaking movies without anybody's brain getting in my head.
Right.
So that's where 100,000 copies takes us. And Mallet 2 is on its way. You bet your ass. But it would be cool to see some studios at least acknowledge the work and step in there and say, like, hey, man, we want to see what you can do with this. And I'll tell you, like, there was a guy years ago, before I ever started doing YouTube, that I wrote a script for, and he bought the script from me. And this guy, he's made, I don't think there's anything wrong with me mentioning, but like, he had his hand in a movie called Hitchhiker that was big, like I think it was like
Nice.
the 80s, 70s, something like that. Gator Bait. But anyway, he was an investor for those films, and he was like, I want you to write a script for this movie. And I wrote him a feature-length script, and I brought it to him in 2 weeks. And he was like, you wrote this in 2 weeks? And I was like, well, yeah, you said you needed it. And he was like, okay. He was like, well, that's crazy. And he paid me really, really well for this. And I remember him saying that the script was better than things that he had paid like $20,000 for, $50,000 for, $100,000 for. And that was like early on when I was writing screenplays. So I know I've got something there. I've just kind of had to ignore it because, you know, this ball with YouTube is rolling. And then I bit off with the Deans and other things, and Dean's on a Mansion. So, you know, I have to keep those balls rolling. But I would love nothing more than to do horror and do it on the next level.
Well, I think the horror field would be very lucky to have you involved in it more than what you already are going to be now. So I have one more question for you, and then I'm going to let the chat ask a few questions, and then we'll let you get on with your night. Where and when is everyone going to have access to the movie?
Well, pre-orders open up middle to late August. So when you pre-order the film, you'll go ahead and pay for it in August. And what that will do is that will ensure that you get the film before anybody else does. Now, the film doesn't drop until Halloween. On Halloween, when it comes out, you'll be able to order it on malletmovie.com, or you'll be able to watch it on Prime. But if you pre-order the film in August, you'll get the film a couple days before it drops or within a week before it drops. We might throw something else extra in your package. It could be an autograph. It could be a picture. But every DVD cover is going to be signed by me, as well as the two lead actors, my oldest son and my youngest son. So you're going to get a signed copy, possibly little extras. You'll get to see it before everybody else. And that's only with pre-order. So once the DVD drops, there's no more, signed copies. The price might drop a little bit, but every copy that we say we're going to sign is in a print. Like, we're actually going to hand sign every single copy. It's going to come straight from Dean headquarters. So
that's amazing. So you definitely want to get them pre-orders, guys, because having the signature, and as big as this movie is going to be, I can already feel it. As big as this movie is going to be, you're going to want those autographs on there. So make sure you pre-order. I'm already a huge fan of the movie. I've just seen the trailer, just like everybody else. But I can already tell I'm going to be a huge fan of it. And I think I can speak for everyone whenever I say congratulations to you. And we're all so very proud of you. It's just amazing to know. I even bragged to my dad earlier, and he was like, "Who are you interviewing tonight?" And I said, "Jody Dean." I said, "He's a movie maker and he's a YouTuber." And I said, "He just made this new movie." And so I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. And so, chat, if you want to ask any questions real quick before we let Jody go on with his night, because we know how busy he is. But let's see. Where can we look for the movie drop?
Interviewing me with such great questions. I really appreciate it, and being so kind. And you're one of the YouTubers that I really, for a long time, I would like to see them get the recognition they deserve. And I'm pulling for you. I'm pushing for you. And yeah, you're a blessing to that community, as I've heard, I can see, I can tell for myself. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that as well. And this community means the world to us. So it's the least we can do. It's definitely an amazing place to be. So we're lucky. We're lucky to be part of it. So it's amazing. Slim, yes, the links are down in the description below. So you can check out those links. If you have not seen the trailer, the link for the trailer is in the description below as well. And you can see that over on Hunting the Dead. Andre,
some of these questions over here. I just learned that I could hit the comments up there and see what.
Yeah, you can see. Let's see.
And one great thing that you can tell when Jody talks is he never forgets where he came from.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's
You stay true to yourself.
I appreciate you saying that, and yeah, I my family knows it, and that makes me so happy. Like, they're constantly complimenting me on that, and that's it's an important thing you want your kids to know, man. Is hey, like, the good or bad, it makes you who you are, and you gotta be proud of that.
Exactly.
Yep. So very true, Miss VodkaVamp. What was the inspiration for the movie?
What was the inspiration for the movie? Well, WhatTheParanormal, long-time awesome supporter of the paranormal community, right? I've seen that name quite a bit. So when I initially wrote Mallet, I did not plan on putting my sons in the film. They came to me 1 week after I wrote it, and they said, "Dad, you should write a movie for us to be in." And I was like, "Wait, hold up." And I just went in there and made some adjustments, and surprisingly, it wasn't that hard to fit it to where my kids could play in it. And then it was like, okay, we're gonna do it.
That's awesome. And Paranormal Patrick has an amazing question. Will there be merch for the movie?
Yeah. Hey, Paranormal Patrick, thank you so much for asking that question. Yeah, there actually is a t-shirt that we are working on. I think it's going to come out in August as well. So in August, people will be able to not only pre-order the movie, but they'll be able to get the t-shirt as well.
That's going to be amazing. Definitely going to have to get that as well. Twinkie, do you have any questions?
No, Twinkie knows how I am. I'll do paranormal like if there's no tomorrow, but I've never watched a whole bunch of scary. This is one I'm going to watch. This will be my first one. So
well, I appreciate it. And just so you know, again, the cool thing about this movie is I know a lot of people like you that just said what you just said. Like, there's people that in the town of Fort Gaines, they love what I'm doing there. They love what I've done, but they just don't do haunted houses. Like, this scares the hell out of them. They support it. The good thing with this movie is I've met a lot of people like that. Had I went 110% ham on the special effects, I would probably tell you, yeah, you don't want to watch this one. But I think you'll be able to get by with watching this one and saying it's still gonna jump scare the shit out of you here and there. But
probably some chicken.
It ain't gonna make you have a heart attack or get sick.
No, I love me some jump scares, so that just made my day even better. That there is going to be some jump scares in there because I live for those moments. Hi, Sam.
Sam's pretty paranormal. Hey there.
I'll probably be looking for like between my fingers while my hands. But I'll watch it.
I'll tell you this: when my mom watched the movie, I let her watch it from the beginning to the end. When I let her watch it, she was like, she was jumping and grabbing her heart and going, oh! And I was like, oh my God, my mom's never been big on horror films, but she enjoyed this one, although she said it almost gave her a heart attack many times.
Now, what did your mom say to you about the sex scene?
Well, my mom actually didn't say much about that. She was kind of like, "Isn't that Haley? Oh my God!" Yeah, that's our good friend Haley, sweetheart. But that was really her thing. But there was a lot of fans, a lot of supporters from YouTube that were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you did that. I wonder what Alicia feels." And I'm like, "Alicia, hit the record button." And hey, I would not have done the scene if Alicia wouldn't have been okay with it. And she kind of was like, "This needs to be, you need to have this for the movie." I explained it to her, and she was like, "Yeah, I it makes sense. It's not like, hey, let's just go shoot some sex scenes. It'd be fun, right? Come on now."
Exactly.
That's when you have a strong partner.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know everyone is just they're all aware of Alicia and how amazing she absolutely is. So just to have that support system from your family, and then I know your two sons were in the movie, but to have that support and them want to be a part of it, that is just an amazing thing. You guys definitely bring family into all the aspects of everything that you do, and I absolutely love that about you guys. And I'm so excited that the boys are in the movie. It's going to be very cool for them as well.
It really is, man. It's we're beyond proud of them, but it's also just one of those things where it's like I know what they don't know because I do have a little background in film, like at selling scripts, building sets, doing stuff, being nominated in film festivals. Like I have some background there. They don't. However, I tell them, like, guys, you have no idea how hard it is for somebody that's an established actor to get the lead role heading a film. And you guys have no acting experience whatsoever. You just killed your first movie playing leads. Like, the sky is the limit right now. Like, legit, depending on how good this movie does, you guys are set for life, not because of the money that the movie will make. Which I'll tell you something about that in a second. I made them a hell of a deal, but not because of the money the movie will make, because that credibility now that you were able to carry a film, dude, you can show up to any casting call, and if you don't get the part, at least they're gonna fucking say, "Hey, let's see what they can do."
Exactly. And not only did you give them an opportunity to be in a film, but you gave them an opportunity to further that career if it happens to come that way, and that's amazing. You gave them the stepping stones, and that's awesome. Slim has a good question. Slim Lett 2.0, which is another channel who does great interviews, so you might check him out as well. The killer. How did you come up with the killer? Was there a mask or a certain thing you wanted to make sure that it had, or how did you come up with the killer?
Yeah, so I designed the costume. I made the mask from scratch. I had an idea of what this guy looked like in my head. And I was like, okay, I see this. I just got to make it come to life. And I probably spent more time making the costume and the mask and the whole, the whole shebang than I did actually writing the whole movie. So what I've seen up here, I just brought into existence. And in my head, he looked scary, and in person, he looked scary. And then whenever we did the screen test, and my oldest son put the costume on, he just had a growth spurt right before we said, "Okay, we're gonna do this." All of a sudden, he shot up, and he was taller than me. I was like, "Whoa! Like, what the hell happened overnight?" Like, the weirdest thing. And calf muscles are this big around, and when he put the costume on, I was like, he looks scary. And it, dude, I often refer to it as it was like the best accident that ever happened, because it was an accident that it all flowed like water, and it happened to be an amazing one.
Right. That's awesome. Now, will Mallet, the character Mallet, will he be making an appearance at the Haunted Mansion?
Wow, we talked about this. Oh my God. So we talked about, after the movie comes out, possibly bringing Mallet to some Comic-Cons. Like, just have the legit actor, the legit Mallet, wearing the costume from the first movie, go to some Comic-Cons and just walk around, meet, greet people, not buying a table or anything, just showing up, being like, "Yo, what the hell? That looks like, Screen You Mallet." Guess, buddy, is. And we just walk around and give people out like free autographs and stuff. But as far as being at Dean's Haunted Mansion, it probably won't be, just for safety reasons.
Right.
Safety reasons, and I'll tell you, it's already caused this film has already caused a big buzz in the Fort Gaines area. Like, people are buzzing about it. We just got reached out to by one of the newspapers, and I think that it's about to hit the fan, and nobody knows it, and in a good way, like okay, Mallet is really making a name for itself, even though it's like, little old me, little old me, like, yeah, I got the YouTube thing and I got some stuff popping, but at the same time, like, to make a movie pop is very hard. Like, they spend millions of dollars on marketing, even to get low budget films seen. And I think that we're already probably, you know, a light year ahead of where it should be.
Well, Fort Gaines is definitely very lucky to have you, and I know you do a lot of different things for that town, as far as like donating to the schools and stuff like that. So I know they're very proud of you as well. Paranormal Melissa, I'll ask this question, and then we'll probably wrap it up for the night. She says she knows you're always on the grind, and but what projects do we have to look forward to coming up from you?
You know, thank you, Paranormal Melissa. That's how you say it, right? Paranormal Melissa?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So with my Hunting the Dead channel, I plan on continuing to do but also bringing paranormal stuff back. I got like one of my best paranormal investigations like ever to date drops tomorrow. So I'm bringing some paranormal back to that channel. I know a lot of people miss it, and I've kind of missed it too. However, I've kind of gotten like this little pockets where like if I do it, I want to do really cool places, big places. No more whatever is haunted. You know, like I'm gonna start being a little picky, paranormally picky.
Paranormal picky, I love it.
So with that channel, Rando Paranormal, and then I have another channel, The Scream Scene, that just started, where it's exploring terror, and that can be in any form. It can't be abandoned, haunted places, but it could be other things. And I'm doing horror movie reviews on there. So every Thursday there'll be a horror movie review. That's what we've got as far as YouTube goes. Dean's Haunted Mansion starting this Saturday, and then every Friday and Saturday year round. We have something called Terror Tours. It's a guided tour. It's not like our haunted house during haunt season. Like either I or one of my tour guides, you know, we tell you about the history of the place, the experiences people have had, slow it down a little bit and let you take some of it in, because during haunt season, when we do our normal haunted house, people are just like, oh, get me the hell out of here. They don't take the time to look at nothing. They're so scared.
I love it.
You know, 22 acts a night trying to scare the hell out of you. But with Terror Tours, you know, there's just a few people on production and our security and our staff. So I mean, it's not crazy, but I'm thinking about Mallet too, guys. Alicia's going to kill me. If she hears me right now or if she watches this, she's going to kill me. She told me she said, look, whenever you finish this movie, I want you to not do another movie for 3 years. You know, that I can't see that happening. I'm already thinking about Mallet too, but I won't know if I can pull the trigger on it until we see how the first one does. So I pray to God it does good, just so I can have a reason to do a part 2.
That's awesome, and I'm excited just to hear that there could be a part 2. So I haven't even seen part 1 yet, but again, I think I'm going to love it. And I'm so ready. And yes, Sam, eventually you will, because I am definitely going to get there. I am going to get there. It is on the very top of my bucket list. So I'm so beyond ready to get there. Not only,
I'll tell you this, not to cut you off, but it's an important announcement. If WhatTheParanormal or Sam's Pretty Paranormal shows up to Georgia, you give me a notice. I'm letting you guys investigate it, and I don't let anybody investigate it anymore. Like, it's just, you have to be really fucking close to me for me to let you in the doors. And guess what? You guys are getting full access if you get down here. So
I am definitely gonna.
You come to my house, and then we'll go.
I'm definitely gonna be coming that way. Bet.
I'm just in North Carolina, so I'm not that far away.
Okay, yeah, I'm actually going to be there within the next 2 months.
There is the Scream Scene right there, guys. So if you do not have that channel, make sure you go and grab it, because, again, another awesome channel, and you definitely want to grab it up. So we're also very proud of you, Jody.
Yes.
I always say I live vicariously through you, because if I was you, I would need like 30 naps a day. And so it's an honor to know you. It's an honor to get to interview you here tonight. But you are doing the community very proud. And I'm so excited to see how far this goes for you. And you guys, you, Alicia, the boys, you all deserve all the good things that come to you. And I can't say that enough. I say it all the time, but I can't say it enough. Just keep being you. And you are going to be amazing.
I greatly, truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Means a lot. It does. And there's just no words for it. But yeah, that stuff is super beneficial, knowing how busy we are, how hard we work to hear things like that. It just, man, you just made me want to say, fuck going to bed tonight and get out and go and do some more shit. So
I'm sorry, Alicia. I apologize.
And big shout out to all these people that are in here. I see Debbie McWaters, WhatTheVamp, Janet, Sarlo, Earthnoises, Slim, Lett, Paranormal Melissa. I've seen some other people earlier. I don't know if they're still in here. Sam's Pretty Paranormal. Big shout out to all you guys. Keep supporting these lovely young ladies here on this channel. And man, guys, smash those thumbs up for your creators. It means so much. So run up the thumbs up on this. Share it on social media. It's free to do, and they give you free content. So,
And I didn't think I could love him any more than I already do, but he called us young.
I know, right?
I definitely love it. Love it. So, guys, make sure you go check out the trailer for Mallet and get ready to pre-order. Middle of August. You definitely want to pre-order this and get them autographs because they're going places. They're going to be big. So we appreciate every single one of you being here tonight. Thank you, Jody, for being here. Thank you, Twinkie, for coming up. And we will see you next Thursday night. We love you guys. You mean the world to us. We hope you know that. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you guys for interviewing me. I appreciate it.
Very welcome. I had a blast.